Professor Hollis, and I wanted to welcome you to our class. This is an intro to a website design course, and it's designed to help you learn HTML and CSS code to be able to build your own websites. And we are also going to be looking at content management systems later on in this course, like WordPress and Google Sites, different ways that you can build websites with more of a drag and drop sort of format. But to start out with, we are going to actually be learning HTML code. So this might be different than any other art class you have taken before because it is a little bit more technical, but I'm excited to show it to you and get some feedback from you guys on what you're thinking about it. So building a website is very important in the design field of work because your website projects who you are as a designer, whether that's going to be video, print, logos, any kind of design work that you want to do professionally. You need to be able to showcase that through a website. So this course should be helpful for you in that regard, and by the end of this course you should actually have a portfolio website that you feel confident in sharing with potential clients or potential employers. So that's my goal with this course, and if you read through all of the getting started course guide material, you will see that we do have a required textbook for this course, and we also have a requirement of Adobe Dreamweaver. So you don't have to get the full Creative Cloud subscription, but it is $20 a month for a student, so that's not too bad. If you have access to the labs at the college campus, they're already installed on many of the computers, so you can use those copies of Dreamweaver. And we also will occasionally be using Photoshop, so there might be some times that you need to open Photoshop. Other than that, you just need Canvas and basic like Microsoft Office type things. So our required text is an Adobe Dreamweaver step-by-step tutorial book, and you want to make sure you get the 2020 edition because it is different than the 2019. This is the link to the publisher, againsttheclock.com. You can buy it from there as an ebook or a printed book. I believe that the bookstore is also going to carry that. So if you have financial aid, you can use that through the San Juan College bookstore. So once you get your book, you will need to download the required resource files. And I will put a zip folder on our course that has a link to that. But you can also log in to the publishing website and download the resource files there. So they're going to give us the files that we need to start out our websites that we'll be building throughout the course. So you will need to download that and unzip it. Okay, so let's talk for a little bit about websites and how they're made. So if you wanted to go and build a website from scratch, the first thing you would need is hosting and a domain name. So there are websites out there that will actually provide both of those things for you. One example of that is GoDaddy.com. You've probably heard of that one. They sell you a domain name and they also offer hosting. Okay, so those two things are what you need to get started with a website. Generally, websites aren't very expensive, but you do have to have some cost involved with it. So I'm just going to show you a little bit about what a website like GoDaddy would offer you, okay? So let's say you wanted to find a domain name for your website. You would search it here, and you can get domain names for about $12 a year, and that's for the first year. Usually, after that, it stays around $12. Sometimes it can go up depending on how valuable the domain name is. But you can expect to pay about $1 a month for a domain name. Now, in addition, so that is your website address. That's what people would type up in the bar. The other thing is you would have to purchase hosting, and hosting is where the site is actually stored. So GoDaddy has a bunch of servers or computers that they host people's websites on, and people pay to rent that space on the website or on the server. So it's like a holding computer for your website that allows people to access it globally any time of day. Okay. And for hosting, you can usually expect to pay $4 to $5 a month for the economy hosting. If you have a bigger site, you can pay around $12 a month. And then the maximum one that they have is $20 a month. Okay, so I'm not saying you have to use GoDaddy for this, but there are a lot of different web hosting companies out there that are good. So the one I've used a lot of them before because I have my own web design business. But I've used Bluehost, and I do like Bluehost. You always need to read the fine print though, because when it says $2.95 a month and then it has the little star, usually after the first 12 months it'll go up to the $8. So you get your first year at that cheaper price. But so Bluehost is a bit cheaper than GoDaddy even. Some of them also include a free domain for 1 year. So before you buy your domain name, just check if they include a free domain with the hosting, and you might want to buy it that way, okay? So if you are interested in setting up a website, you would need to go through one of these companies that will host it for you. A lot of them have security built in and also email. They also have access to a website builder, but you may or may not need that depending on how much you learn in this course, right? So that's a little bit about how websites work. If you are building your website from scratch, you would want to start using a software like Dreamweaver. Okay, so this is Adobe Dreamweaver. Basically, like, it does a lot of things, but basically it will allow you to build web pages, okay? And then you connect those web pages that are on your computer, you connect them to that remote server that you're paying for space on, and you upload them to that server. And then anybody can access it on the World Wide Web. Okay, so a little bit about hosting and domain names. And the next thing we're going to talk about with building a basic website is the flowchart. So anytime you come up with an idea for a website, you are going to want to start by building a map of that website. Okay, so a map of a website is called a flowchart. And a flowchart looks like this, okay? So you have your home page at the top, and then you're mapping out all of your subpages. So for this particular website, they have 6 subpages on the website. So these would be on the main menu. And then from there, you're going to have even more subpages depending on what your site is about and how many pages you want and what links you want. So if you look at my color key down here, the purple color is what's called an internal link. So that's a link to another page of the website. And then the green color is an external link. So that's going to take you to somebody else's website. The blue color is a downloadable link. So this would be like a PDF, or if you wanted somebody to download another type of file like a JPEG, you would use that. Okay. So it's just a real basic map. I created this map in Photoshop. So if you know anything about like drawing boxes and adding text in Photoshop, you can easily create a flowchart. And that's what this is. Here is a flowchart of a basic website. So yours might not have as many subpages. You may only want 3 or 4. We'll get to that when we get to that. You can just look at the assignment brief and see what you need to include. But for example, at the end of this course, we'll be creating a portfolio website. So your portfolio website, depending on what field you want to major in, or what field you want people to see your work from, you can have a page for photography, a page for web design, a page for multimedia, and so on. Okay, so that's what this basic flowchart is for. So you can use Photoshop to create that. You could use Microsoft Word to create that. You can use Adobe Fireworks if you're familiar with that. Really any program that you can draw boxes and put text in it, and then put these little like arrows that are linking them together. So the fact that these are linked together from right to left shows me that this is one level of the navigation. So this would be my upper level of navigation on the website. And then once I go to one of these pages, like photography, there's going to be 2 more options to click on. And then once I go to one of those pages, I'm going to have 6 images on each page that I can click on. Okay. So it's just mapping out the flow of your website. Okay. The other thing I wanted to just quickly go over that you're going to need to know is how to create a zip folder, because we will be using those a lot in this course. So let me show you. For example, this is our Dreamweaver lessons folder. Okay. So let's say I wanted to upload that to Canvas for all of you to see all these lessons in here. I'm going to right click on the folder name itself. And this is a Mac computer. If you have a Mac, you just go to compress and it creates a zip folder. If you have a Windows, you go to send to, and then there's another menu that says compressed or zipped folder. So that's how you create a zip folder. So when I click compress here, let me take it a second. It's actually going to have that file extension .zip, and that's what you want to upload to Canvas because it contains all of those subfolders and files. Okay, so when you're working with websites, you want to zip the entire root folder of your website. Okay, a root folder is where we're going to end up storing everything related to our website. Okay, so we're going to store all our pages there. We're going to store all of our styling pages there. We're going to store all of our images there, all of our videos. Everything is going to be in that one root folder, and then I'll need you to zip that root folder and upload it as your assignment submission. Okay, so that's kind of how this class is going to work as far as submitting your assignment. You don't want to just submit the HTML page and that's it. You have to include all of the things that are a part of that page or linked to on that page. Okay. So that's the basic overview of flowcharts, zip files, hosting, and domains. So you can now move on to our first lab with the Dreamweaver user interface.